Yeah, so the Arctic 30 have been charged with piracy, which carries 15 years in Russian prisons. That charge evidently is going to be changed now to hooliganism, but that's still a very serious charge. That's going to be carrying 7 years maximum sentence if they are charged and convicted, and that's in a labor camp. And these are not good prisons. They're considered substandard, and the European Union is now trying to get Russia to upgrade their prisons to a standard that's accepted within Europe and meets basic humanitarian criteria, which they don't now. So I'm extremely concerned about our activists. They put a banner up. They're exercising their freedom of speech. They're trying to stop a larger crime, which is destroying the Arctic with oil drilling in an extreme frontier where you cannot clean it up. An oil spill in the Arctic would be absolutely devastating to a habitat ecosystem that's already under grave threat from climate change. The ice is melting. It's the most severe melting that's been seen there in a long time. There's tremendous changes going on right now in the Arctic because of climate change, which is the only reason why they're able to get in there now in the first place, is because the ice is melting. And burning the fossil fuels that's in the ground right now is going to be a trigger point for climate change, which makes it much worse. We have to get CO2 out of the atmosphere. We have to stop putting greenhouse warming gases up there. And if the Arctic warms up, it's going to start releasing methane, which is a huge triggering point. And it also affects the plankton. The cold water holds more oxygen. The plankton that's in the ice-free areas of the Arctic is very, very important for the production of oxygen and the absorption of the CO2. And the waters up there around the world are more acidic than they have been for 250 or perhaps 300 million years because of the absorption of CO2. So this is one of the real dangers. It's called the twin sister, the ugly twin sister to climate change. Maybe it's not the best analogy, but it's such a serious threat. As people here in Washington know, that the oyster farming is having real trouble because the shells can't withstand the acidity of the water. So the Arctic is under threat. Besides just losing the key species like polar bears and seals and the whales, we're talking about the basic of the food chain, the plankton. You lose that, and you lose the food chain, and you lose the capability to create oxygen and absorb CO2. So an oil spill covering the Arctic would be catastrophic. There's no way you can clean it up. We cannot trust Gazprom and the Russian government, or Shell, or any other country that wants to drill in the Arctic. Russia is responsible for over half of the world's oil spills. 30 million barrels a year are being spilled in Russian waters every year. That's over six times the amount of oil that is spilled in the Gulf Water Horizon, Deepwater Horizon spill in the Gulf. And so we can't let this happen. Okay, our Arctic 30 people can be said that they were guilty of trespass. They're exercising their freedom of speech, saying we cannot let this moral crime go ahead. We need to get the people of the world to stand up, say we want an Arctic free of oil. We need a World Park Antarctica. We need a World Park Arctic, just like we got a World Park Antarctica, where the resource extraction will not be allowed to go ahead. That will make the incarceration of my people and my friends worthwhile. But we need to ask that these Arctic 30 people be freed immediately. They're climate defenders. In my mind, they're heroes, even though they're just ordinary people that feel so convicted that they have to speak up and say something about why they think the Arctic should not be drilled in. And they've lost their liberty. They're not with their family or their friends or their loved ones, and they're suffering right now. And they need the help and support of all of us, as the Arctic needs the help and support of all of us.